we did a show in Mexico, and a cousin of mine reached out, said, "Hey, I'm here having dinner with your dad," and I'm like, "Oh,
And you hadn't seen him for how long?
15 years."
Wow.
15 years ago plus, he had a friend in LA who brought him out to the Comedy Magic Club to see me perform. And it was crazy because I'm backstage and Richard, the manager at the club, comes up to me and he goes, "Gabe, listen, there's a guy in the crowd and he's telling people he's your dad." I'm like, "Oh, great. Another one that wants money or tickets, right? What does he want? Do we give him a DVD?" That's back then. So he goes, "Yeah, the guy's being real. He's being very insisting." And I'm like, "Really?" I go, "Come on, Richard. How long you know me?"
Yeah.
It's somebody just being, an ass. So after the show was over, I was outside doing a meet and greet. And so people were coming up to me and they're like, "Hey, will you sign this or sign, and take pictures and stuff like that." And sure as shit, my manager at the time, Pat Buckles was my manager at the time. She comes up to me. She goes, "Gabe, there's a guy in the back claiming to be your dad. He's waiting in line to meet you. And I'll just be honest with you. The eyes. It's the eyes. It's, trust me." And I my heart dropped, and I still had to finish my meet and greet. Whoa. And I'm like, "Oh my God, how?" He's holding a DVD in the line. It's like, what am I gonna write on the freaking DVD? Hey, how you been?
Yeah. So once you saw him, did you know?
You know what? I told her to tell him, "Look, right now it's not good. He's working," and he understood that. So we got his info, and we actually had dinner with him the next night at the Comedy Magic Club. Richard set it up for me. Whoa. We had a nice little meeting. We sat down, and we just,
And previous to that,
talked.
you hadn't seen him since you were a child.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. So, it was funny because he made the joke that, because I made fun of him being the guy in the Tapatio bottle because he was a mariachi. When I said, "Mom, you got any pictures of my dad?"
Yeah.
And my mom was like, "He looks like that."
Yeah. Wow.
So anyways, I had all those uncomfortable, questions and answers 15 years ago.
Yeah.
And I just lost touch with them.
And what was that like, that first meeting or that first dinner?
It was very conflicting because I had always been upset, but I didn't know why I was upset. Everybody made me feel like my dad not being there automatically meant that, if for some reason he were to try to come back into the picture, no, forget this dude. He was never there. But again, I never got a clean explanation from my mom. It was more so emotional. And I'm not, and you're taught, don't question your parents back then. You don't, this is how it is, and that's it. And you're like, okay.
Yeah.
There was no back and forth. So everything my mom said, I just took it. And it wasn't until I had a chance to talk to my dad and work through issues at that dinner. And so, and keep in mind, it was a little bit more challenging because he only spoke English and my Spanish was, fuck,
Oh, he only spoke Spanish, I mean.
He only spoke Spanish.
Yeah.
And my Spanish was still it was, if I could order food, but I couldn't, I couldn't have a meaningful conversation.
Get emotionally deep.
Yeah. So I had my girlfriend with me who was very fluent. So she was very helpful in getting the conversation going. And, helping out.
Were some of those questions answered, do you think?
You know what? Yes, because I had so much hatred for my dad, but I didn't know why again. And so knowing that, now I see it differently because I see it through the eyes of an entertainer. I see now wow, okay. All right. I think about my mom and my mom hooking up with somebody that's an entertainer. They're traveling, they're working every night. They're on stage. The attention, the back and forth, and I'm like, yeah, I think my mom might have,
Yeah.
So I kind of just you know what, the past is the past. I get it. I'm good. Thank you for sitting with me. Thank you for explaining to me, and we're good. I was good.
Yeah.
I didn't stay in touch with him though because he was in fact a stranger to me.
Right.
I'm just like, we look the same, and if I need a kidney, fuck, I'll call you. But
yeah.
But did you see real similarities, like his mannerisms or the way he spoke or his cadence?
You know what? Super charismatic. You could tell he carries himself. It's almost regal the way he carries himself.
Interesting.
He's not sloppy. He's very much and very much he's old school. The guy's 80 years old now.
Wow.
And even now when you talk to him, he's again very charismatic. He knows how to take a table and just start talking to everyone, and he's super engaging. So I can see why my mom was like, she got all.
Yeah.
Mi hijo lo-
Did he have other kids or no?
Yes, he had 2 daughters, and I met them in December. So the thing was,
Wow.
my cousin reached out, and I says, "Look, this is awkward for me. I'm done with that chapter. I didn't stay in touch." But then when I found out I had 2 sisters, I was like, you know what? Maybe this is a chance. You can see that earlier in the conversation talking about wanting a kid. This was already after that kid thing and the dog thing. And let me try to find something real to attach myself to.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And so I invited him to come out to the show in Mexico City on the condition that he brought my sisters.
Whoa.
And then I also have nieces. So it was like all these people that showed up.
Family. You didn't
Yeah. So it was really, really cool. And they were super nice. And the fact that I approached them, not them approaching me, made all the difference in the world, because it wasn't like them, because I get a lot of people saying they're family members and they just want money.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
need
yeah.
help. And I'm an Iglesias. I had one cousin who actually had Iglesias tattooed on his arm right here. And
Yeah, yeah.
Pulled it up like hey, look, we're related, same name. I'm like, oh, come on, bro.
Yeah. And then so they came backstage.
So also, no, we actually sat down and had a nice dinner,
Oh.
and we talked, and I told him, I feel like I'm a lot more mature, and I feel like we can have a real conversation now versus back then where it was all emotional. And it was very, very cool. It was very, very friendly. It was very positive. There was no arguing. There was no all the what the fucks. Sorry, I don't mean to do it like Mencia. What the fuck? All the what the hells.
Yeah.
We're already gone by that point, and it was just nice to connect.
What a sweet fucking thing, man.
And so we hung out, had multiple dinners while I was there in town. They came to the show, and so it was nice. I have not stayed in touch, and I think that's out of fear, because I don't know. The guy's now 80. My sisters have their own lives,
Yeah.
but I just don't know, because there's so much going on in my life where I feel like so many people we were close, and now they're on the outside, and I'm like, am I good or bad in their lives, And so
Yeah. It's a complex situation, dude. And but it's still beautiful, man, I'm so happy for you in that way, you know what I mean? Because it's like, I would want to know, and I would want to know those things as well, you know what I mean? And I mean, for me, it's like, I don't know, I got goosebumps when we were talking about it, man. It's fucking amazing, dude.
yeah, so all those
Do you do it in Spanish in Mexico City, or you English?
No, I perform in English. I can speak Spanish, but I feel like you lose a lot in the translation. And I have attempted to do shows. Like I work with a guy named Franco Escamilla, who's huge in Latin America, and even here when he does his shows.
I think I met him
You probably did.
because he hung out. There was a guy, Jesus